What's up, notJust developers? Today we are in week 6 of our notJust Startup Challenge, which means that we are approaching very fast our demo day, which is happening next week. That's why in today's video I want to talk about how to better prepare for the pitching your idea during a competition, and also at the end I'm gonna explain all the details on how you can register to pitch your idea at the demo day that we have next week. So without further ado, let's roll the intro. So first of all, let's talk about the different types of pitching, and they are actually 4 types of pitches. Starting with the shortest one, which is also called a Twitter pitch. This is one sentence description of your startup and what you're doing. Usually this one you are trying to be as simple as possible, and you are presenting your idea from the perspective of what people already know. For example, we are the Uber Eats for, I don't know, vegan food. The next one is the well-known elevator pitch, which should last as long as one elevator ride, which is usually 30 to 60 seconds. And this pitch is very good when introducing your idea to someone new that you are just meeting. Alright, the next one is the competition pitch. And this one is a bit longer. It lasts from 3 to 5 minutes. And this is the most common type or structure of pitching your startup that is used at demo days, competitions, and other types of events. Here you are also coming with a pitch deck or some slides that will help you present the idea, and there is a proper structure of what you have to address during this pitch. And the most important one is the investor's pitch, which is very similar to the competition pitch, but in this case the dynamic of how you talk and what you focus the attention to is a bit different and specifically targeted to investors. And yeah, like you would talk about things that are important for investors. But today I want to focus on the competition pitch because this is what I want to make sure that you are ready for, because during the next week we have our demo day where you will have opportunity to pitch your idea. First, I want to talk about the 4 most important qualities of a good pitch. And the first one is clarity. This is very crucial in order to make sure that the idea that you are telling will be understood by the audience. In this situation, try to avoid jargons that only you understand and be as simple as possible, and this way you will make sure that everyone understands what you're doing. The worst case when you are pitching is for the audience to not understand what is your product about and what is your startup doing. The next important point is your excitement. During pitching, you should be excited about your idea, and you should show this excitement to the rest of the audience in order for them to get excited as well. The presentation should also be informative, and the listener should learn something new out of this presentation. And lastly, it should be memorable. This is actually the most important part, because during like competition pitches or demo days, everyone is listening to a lot of pitches, like 20, 30. And your goal is to make sure that what they will remember out of all of these pitches is the one that you're telling. So here you need to be a very good storyteller. You need to be very good at engaging people into your story. And yeah, this takes time and practice. Take into consideration that most people will remember only 3 to 4 things about your startup. So it's your job to only focus on the most important parts of a startup and ignore the low-level details about it. Now let's talk a little bit about the structure and what topics you should include in your pitch. So starting off, of course, we need an introduction where you will describe your startup in a 1 sentence, and you'll describe what you are doing and why you're doing this. The next one is the problem that you're solving. This is very important, and that's why it comes so early in our pitching and even before the solution, because it's crucial to make everyone understand what problem you are solving and how big of a problem is this and how painful is this problem for your end users. Because remember, like a startup should be a painkiller, it should be a must-have instead of a vitamin, which is a nice-to-have solution. After you have described the problem, now is the time to get into the solution, the product, and the customer that you're building this for. In this part of your pitch, be very clear about what you're building and and for whom you are building. Next one is the business model, and here you will need to explain how you will make money and how you will make a profit out of this. And yeah, like this is important because if you are looking for investors, they need to know how they will get their money back and how they will make X10 out of their investments. But in order to do that, they need to know about the whole opportunity, like the industry that you are in. So this is our actually next point that we need to include in our pitching is the opportunity. Here, it's important to talk about the total addressable market, how big is the market, and what is the opportunity there to grow. Because yes, we know that we need to niche down and to start small, but at the same time, like the solution and the application that we are building should be able to expand to satisfy the needs of a quite big market in order for the investors to be excited to join this opportunity. Next on the list is optional, and it's only for the applications that are already launched. And here you need to talk about the traction. If you have growth, now is the time to show this. Up to this point, our pitching was based mostly on the story and the storytelling, but here we get into the numbers, and here is where you make sure to prove your story with numbers. The next topic that I want you to include in your pitching during the Not Just Startup demo day is the progress. Please explain briefly where you started off and where you got in the last 7 weeks, because it's not important to have like a application ready to be deployed. It's not important to start from scratch in order to participate in this challenge. What is important is to have a clear start date or like a clear starting phase and what you managed to build during the 7 weeks up until the demo day. In this part, you can also include the next steps that you plan to do in order to launch if you are not launched yet. And yeah, this will be a great information for everyone to know about what are your next steps for this startup. All right, so moving on to the next topic, here is the time to talk about your team, if you have one, and talk about how they are relevant to the industry or to the business that you are doing. Try to be fast here because you don't have a lot of time, and mention only the details that are important. And that's everything. We end with a conclusion, and what I recommend doing in the conclusion is to mention those 3 to 4 points that you want people to remember about you. Again, people remember only 3 to 4 things about your startup, so this is your opportunity to influence what they will remember about the startup. Alright, so after structuring what you want to talk about, and only after that, now it's time to create our slides. The slides that we will use at the demo day for pitching should accompany your presentation, not dominate it. Because remember, if you put a lot of text on the presentation, people cannot listen and read at the same time, and usually people tend to read and ignore you and your story that you're saying. So for that reason, try to be very minimalistic and very simple with your slides. Try to use as much images and as least text as possible, and only mention like the points that you want to emphasize there, because all the other important information should be told by your story, not by your slides. Remember the rule, less is more, and here the rule holds very true. So, alright, now that we know everything, what I want to do is to show you an example of how I would pitch the startup that I have been working on for the past 7 weeks during the Not Just Startup Challenge, and this is gonna serve you as an example of how you can do it as well. And by the way, after I do this, I will explain all the details about how you can sign up for the demo day and how you can participate and win up to $1,000 for your startup. Alright, so let's listen to the pitch. Today I want to present you Guaco, the interactive learning plan for developers. We help developers at any stage of their journey to navigate this complex world of software engineering by providing them a clear roadmap with resources, practice exercises, quizzes, and projects. I want to start by explaining the problem that we are trying to solve. And for that, I wanted to teleport 20 years ago and imagine that you knew HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. With these 3 powerful tools. 20 years ago, you'd be able to build anything and you'd be able to become a web developer and be hired by big companies. Things changed during the last 20 years and we have a little bit more tools to learn to become a full stack developer. And here are just some of the tools that exist out there, and all of them are fighting for your attention to learn them. So this naturally leads to a couple of problems. First of all, software engineering world is becoming intimidating for newcomers. People are getting lost in their learning journey. They get unfocused. They don't know what to learn next and they don't know what they should know. And this leads to a feeling of confusion, uncertainty, and a feeling of being lost. Also, not having a clear vision of where you're going leads to fear of missing out, leads to people jumping from learning one tech stack to another one, whichever is most popular on Twitter nowadays. We're coming with a solution for these problems, and we're doing this by building a mobile application which is going to be an interactive roadmap, like a learning journey for people. Every user will have their choice to evolve in the direction that they want to get, being it web development, mobile development, or even backend or cloud. The learning plan will consist of a sequence of topics that you have to learn in order to achieve your goal. Every topic will consist of multiple ways of learning, including videos, learning materials, reading, practice exercises, projects to build, and also quizzes. We are doing this in order to maximize and effectively make sure that users are getting to their goals. The primary target audience for this application are self-taught developers, and later on we are gonna target other developers in their learning journey. The business model for this solution will be a freemium model where we will have a free version of application with basic set of features and content, and for premium users we're gonna provide premium resources, exercises, practices, and premium projects to build. We also plan to run advertisements in future, and this is going to be another revenue stream for Guaco. To better illustrate the opportunity that we have here, there will be more than 2 million new developers that will join the workforce in the next 2 years. And these developers are now probably learning and are probably in their journey of becoming a developer and to getting hired. Based on a survey, 69 of these people are self-taught developers or are using some kind of self-taught methodologies to learn coding. And the whole e-learning market is more than $300 billion in size. So there is a very huge opportunity here, and we are in the perfect position to tap into this opportunity. During this challenge, during the past 7 weeks, we started with an idea. We went into validating it with real customers. I ran different interviews, and based on the learnings that we've got from these interviews, we have built an MVP which is almost ready, like 95% ready to be submitted to the stores. And after we are waiting for the review from the stores, we are ready to ship the first version into the hands of our end users, which I really can't wait to until that happens. So I want to conclude with these 4 points. There are more than 2 million developers that will join the workforce in the next 2 years, and 69 of them are self-taught developers which need help into navigating this complex world of software engineering. We are providing the solution for that by providing a clear learning path, and our goal is to make the complex stuff simple again. Thank you for listening, and let's get back to what Vadim has to say there. Alright, so that was my try to pitch the startup that I have built, and now it's your turn. So as I said before, we are closing on our notJust Startup Challenge, and the past 7 weeks we're full of activities and we were all busy working on our startups. We're ending this notJust Startup Challenge with a demo day where you have opportunity to pitch what you have been doing during the last 7 weeks and have opportunity to win some prizes. Our community will vote for the best startup, and the first place will get $1,000, the second one will get $500, and the third one will get $250. All you have to do is to start structuring your pitch and presentation, then record it and upload it as a private video on YouTube, and make sure the video should be less than 3 minutes. And lastly, fill in the form that you can find in the description of this video to submit your presentation and to actually sign up for the demo day and to pitch there. You will not have to pitch live during the live stream. I will use the recorded videos that you will send me, and we will roll all the presentation during the demo day. That's everything you have to do, but make sure to get started as soon as possible because the deadline for submissions is 10th August. And you can find all the rest of the details down in the description below, following a link, and I will put everything clearly there what you have to do. So thank you very much for being with me during this whole journey. It was a very exciting process where we have started from zero, built a startup, and gathered so many of you together work on our own startups, which is really exciting. And yeah, I'm pretty happy of how it turned out. Alright guys, so I wish you good luck, and I can't wait to see all the startups that have been created during this Not Just Startup Challenge. Bye!